Well, hello, school counselors and school counselors to be. Thank you guys so much for coming to my channel, The Inspiring School Counselor. And today we're going to be getting into some questions that was asked of me when I first received this position to be the school counselor in a primary setting. And I want to just share this with you guys, just to give you guys a overall view of what to expect. So I'm excited to be getting into this. This is actually a video I recorded a couple of months ago, and I ended up forgetting about it, but I was like, oh my gosh, I need to go ahead, edit it, and give it to you guys because I think this is going to be very helpful. But if you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, and also make sure you hit the notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. All right, let's get into it. Hey you guys, welcome to my channel, The Inspiring School Counselor. Thank you guys so much for coming by. Today, as you can already tell from the title below, we are going to be getting into some school counselor interview questions that will prepare you for whenever you are getting ready to do your interview. It can be very nerve-wracking, overwhelming. So I have for you guys actual questions that was asked to me whenever I went to my interview to be the school counselor at the school that I'm at now. These are the same exact questions that they asked me. And so I wanted to share these questions with you. My main goal of doing this video is just to give you guys an idea of what questions that can be asked of you and just kind of help you guys prepare for that moment, because I just know what it's like when you don't know what to expect. So I want to read off these questions and hopefully they will be of help to you guys in any way, shape, or form. So let's get into it. So the first question that I was asked was, tell us about yourself and anything you feel is important for us to know that relates to this position. And then they wrote in parentheses, educational training and experience. So for this question, obviously, when you are going in, you don't want to share anything negative. That's the obvious. But you want to just tell them, highlight those strengths, highlight those things about you that will kind of pull together that beautiful picture of why you should be a school counselor at that school. So I think for me, I've mentioned that, I've had many deals with working with students, whether it was in my practicum, doing internship, my love for just being able to impact students' lives in any way, shape, or form. And so I began to just really give those different type of answers, especially because they said educational training. So I even shared with me my schooling and the route that I took, and everything like that. So that can be something that you can bring up. The next question that they asked was, what do you see as the main role of a school counselor? And so for that, you guys, it is so important, which you should know, but you need to know what your role is. And you want to let them know that you know what your role is. And so that's why they're asking that question. So, like for instance, I told them that my job as a school counselor is to advocate for the student and making sure that, they have a voice. And I even proceeded to tell them that I know that it can be hard for students to, express themselves. And so I am the advocate for them to help them and get their ideas across and letting them know that they have somebody by their side. So you really want to think about that role of a school counselor. And there were some other things that I said, I can't remember it all, but you really want to make sure that you paint that picture and you paint it nice to them with that question. The next one is, what is your experience with teaching the school counseling core curriculum? And so I began to let them know, that with me doing practicum and internship, I've had experiences where I had to actually put together lessons and I had to make sure that I followed the standards that was set for school counselors to follow, which was the social, emotional, academic, career, and college, standards or topics. I forgot what you really call them, but those different things. And so that's what I began to highlight. So you want to go back on your experiences. The next one is, could you share what you know and any experience you have with trauma-informed practices, restorative discipline, and or zones of regulation. Now, this question right here was so fitting, and I'm so happy because it just so happened the timing that I was interviewing for this, I was just getting done with the class that talked about trauma-informed schools, and I actually did a presentation on that. And so I was able to really just drop them jewels and just let them know, hey, this girl know what she's talking about, and I know what y'all are talking about. I was just able to, let them know that, hey, I just, finished a class that, highlighted talking about trauma-informed practices and restorative discipline. And I also let them know that I just finished a PowerPoint that I had to present to the class, and I began to go in detail with that and tell them what trauma-informed is and what my understanding of it was. And so that was a really good question. I was so happy that I was prepared for that one. The next one is, how would you handle an irate parent? And so you want to make sure you answer that the right way. Of course, like for me, I would tell them I would be calm and, basically allow that parent to express themselves while continually just keeping my distance so that they know that, hey, I am not a threat and I'm here to listen to them. And basically making sure that, I am being calm, because when you are calm, then the other person will be calm as well, hopefully. But that's how I kind of just answered that question. 6, what would you do if you suspected a student was being abused? And so it is important that you guys know those steps, okay? You need to know those steps of the, of what you would take if you are suspecting that a child is being abused. And so with that, I actually brought up the steps that I've learned and also can find on the website, and I was able to answer that one. The next one is, what would you do if a student expresses suicidal ideation? So that is thoughts of suicide. And so you would want to break down those steps of what you would take. And that's what I did as well. I broke down those steps. Hey, you guys, so in needing to explain that question, which is breaking down the steps that I would take in order for me to report suicidal ideation, you're going to want to go back to this video that I posted on my channel, because there I let you guys know that steps. So maybe that you can have that in mind whenever you go for your interview. Also, it's very important that you look at your county's suicidal protocol in the school setting so that you can be ready if that question is asked during your interview. 8, what would you do if a student is in a classroom yelling and throwing chairs? And so this actually happened in real life to me. They weren't throwing chairs, but they were yelling and they were trying to flip a table. So yeah, craziness. And that's since I've been at the school that I'm at now. But anyway, at the time I began to tell them that per my internship experience, I had dealt with students a student that, was very irate and was, knocking over stuff. And so I began to let them know is that I make sure that the other students, they're not around or around that student that is being, irate, so that they don't get hurt. And I make sure also that that student that is throwing stuff is not hurting themselves. And so I just began to break down that process as well. I know you are currently employed. Is it okay for us to contact your current employer to verify references? Now, I was not employed when I had this interview, but this was just a question that they asked. And so I just asked like that, well, I'm not employed, but if you want to contact, my employer when I was doing being a teacher assistant, that was like a year ago. I told them that they could if they wanted to. So 10, is there anything else you would like to share with us today, or do you have any questions for the committee? And so one of the things that you want to do when you are in that meeting or before you go to that meeting and that you want to have written down is questions that you can ask. That is so important, you guys. And you want to always have something. So have something that you can ask them, unless you feel like they've answered everything. But really, you want to make sure that you can ask them something, because you want to let them know that, look, I am interested. So for the gist, you guys, those are the actual questions that they asked me prior to getting this job at this primary school. And I hope that these questions gave you guys somewhat of an idea of what to expect. And who knows, I might gather some more. I know we did another, like a mock interview when I was in graduate school. I forgot what class I was in. And so I'm going to have to find those questions and gather all that up. And I will do a part 2 of this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you guys so much for your time. If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. And also make sure you hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. All right, you guys, I'll see you next time.